Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Drinkslew, and I am joined in the broadcast booth by Turdsman and Physics Shebang. Physics, Turdsman, how are y'all doing tonight?
Doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Very, very well, very, very well. What do we have in store tonight for everybody?
Well, tonight we have the finals for the Moogle Cup. We got plasmakappa versus papashongo53. They are going to be performing a somewhat beginner-focused seed here. They're doing it for the whole thing, the whole shebang.
Very well said.
Yeah, whoever takes this one gets to win the whole thing. I guess a couple things we can go over, Glue, if you'd like me to, is some of the changes relating to the Moogle Cup as opposed to the Ultras League.
Yes, please. Thank you. Please and thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So this is more of a sort of beginner player focused seed. We do have a few extra objectives that they can perform, such as suplexing a train for a relic, performing the opera for a high tier weapon, and you can save or kill Sid for a high tier armor. When it comes to scaling, we are looking at a two times increase for checks and dragons and characters, but a 2.5x increase in experience. So these players will be slightly more higher powered than your average Ultros League seeds. Things like shock are available. Cheap rods or expensive rods is turned off, so they can be found at a lower price. I do believe Super Balls can also be found in the shop along with Illuminas. Is that all about right, Glue?
Yes, indeed. And Turdsman, with this flag set, what would you be going for? What would your starting path be? What are you looking for out there in the open?
Well, I definitely want. I'd want to get that weapon. The opera is a pretty big time sink, but getting a high tier weapon is extremely useful, even in any seed, but much more so in one like this. One of the other bits about this is that characters will start with slightly higher stats than normal. I believe it's 100 to 125%. So if a character starts with particularly good speed or particularly good vigor, then picking up a Ragnarok or an Illumina or even fixed dice or something like that would be substantially more useful in the early game before you get access to enough MP to fire off some of those bigger spells. Any of the level 3 magics, Ultima is in play, and it's just regular style. So I think that means it's 99 MP. I haven't played vanilla long enough to 80. Oh my goodness, 80. So uh, getting Ultima would be fantastic, but pretty much any kind of big offense, I'd want to focus on that as much as possible, just to get everything moving as quickly as I could. Getting dead checks, or not dead checks, but free checks are also a lot more nice in this because they're not quite as they're not going to bring up scaling quite as much. And there they go.
And let's not forget that we do get a high tier armor for letting the traitor die. So, that is very appealing as well to many in our community. On top of, this is the last race of Moogle Cup. Go out with a bang and go to that opera. Let's play to the crowd a little bit here. But looks like we are getting started here. I did see a Yeti, but I was too busy focusing on the death of Sid to pay attention to the other characters. Who we got here today?
Looks like we got Setzer, Cyan, and Umaro at the start. So Papachango heading straight for Kolingen to get that check. It was goodness, it was an Esper, but also there are Illuminas in this weapon shop. We were just talking, and Super Balls. Oh my, go to Kolingen. One-stop shopping for all of your damage.
That is astounding. There is one downside to going straight there in that he doesn't have a whole lot of loot to sell for those goods, but knowing that they are there is enormous. Come back here later and just stock up.
Or don't, because you found there's a Ragnarok in the clock. So
Seed is over. We found Kolingen.
Basically.
That's it. We're done here.
Yep. Congratulations to Papachango for picking the right, the perfect thing to go in the beginning.
Meanwhile, Plasmakappa's doing the Returner's Hideout here, getting some loot, doing some shopping. So not going straight to the free checks, but making sure he's got some loot to sell beforehand. Now, in general, in the early game, when it comes to just about any seed in Worlds Collide, be it Ultros League or Moogle Cup, the early game looting is huge. It gives you, obviously, things to use for your offense, but plenty of money to be able to buy all the good things that you find in shops like Super Balls. So, oh, and I think I saw an Atma weapon in Papachango's in the Clock of Narsh. So
That is true.
we're off to a blazing start.
So that does bring up an interesting question. You know that Illuminas are for sale. You have this Atma weapon. The Atma weapon is valuable, but it's not going to really be that useful for, upwards of another 20, maybe even 40 minutes. Do you sell that off to pick up an Illumina?
That is a fantastic question. Are you going to invest in the early game or are you going to invest in the end game? Because Atma weapon is objectively better at the end of the game. Illuminas are great, but you also have those super balls that can carry you a long way early in the seed. I think I would keep it. I would probably focus on the super balls early and that Ragnarok we just found. We'll go back and buy an Illumina later, but for now the offense is already ripping out of the gate.
Oh yeah. And I suppose I would also probably check to see who can equip what. Like, if the Yeti can equip an Atma weapon, my personal heuristic is that means he stays in.
Ah, you're one of the Yeti purists, I see. That's good. I guess
He's
not
fun.
purist. It is a situational, thing for you. But I generally will remove him from the party as soon as possible.
And it looks like we got Sabin in his check too. So that's another interesting bit of information. That way, Papachango now knows that if he goes to the World of Ruin Narsh, he's got a guaranteed character at the end of all that.
That is a really good tactic to do, and something that I really enjoy doing with Umaro starts is, if I'm already in Narsh checking it out, doing some looting, we just spend the 10 or 15 seconds running up there and back just to check that cave, because if you know there's a character there and you have good offense, send it, go get your character early, and get moving.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, Zenthief at 2,830 gold for an Esper. I think it's worth it. What do you think? Do you think you would you would be able to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. Sell a debilitator. Who cares? Just apparently the economy of Zen is really not doing so great right now. This guy's handing out a Madwin for 2K.
He's hurting. So hopefully that 2,000 gold will help him out. And
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Plasmakappa found some very affordable rods, so he's got a good stash of those as well. So that's a good way to start a seed if you don't have super balls. Rods will get you through a whole lot of problems.
Yeah, they're really good for the random encounter batches too, because you can multi-target them, and with super balls you don't necessarily know where that damage is going to go in a group, but if you run into a big pile of robots from the Magitech factory or something weird from the end of the game, and you've got a Thunder Rod, you can just toss that, have that take care of everything.
That is a fantastic way to get through your early grind fights. If you're going to push your scaling up a good amount, for any reason, like Zenthief and also Kolingen, you can go take a good grind fight and just zap it with one rod and get your levels and move right along. Because sometimes that first fight in a seed can be a bit of a slog.
Yeah, but finding the right one at the right time is pretty important with that. If you have rods or super balls, you can get through some weird stuff, but chunking up the scaling and then running into like leafers or something on the Leet River is always a huge bummer.
You're not wrong there. And I guess one thing that we could mention here, because you said, you can do some weird things with Super Balls. Super Balls really do unlock early dragons. And quick segue here, we got a Minerva and a chest in the basement here, so that's always good for elemental resistance. But we have a Yeti. We also know that Yeti has a character, and we have Super Balls for sale in Kolingen. I know that Plasmakappa doesn't know that just yet, but I'm sure he will be going there to get his free check and find that out himself. Grab a couple of those and go fight yourself a dragon at Yeti, and that will hypercharge you up at the scaling, get you a high tier weapon, and really set you up for success for the rest of the seed.
I think I would try to risk it a little bit to maybe get that second Esper to see if I can't get some good stat buffs or a decent spell out of it. But yeah, finding super balls early on pretty much means you can take out a dragon with almost one or two, I think, with low enough scaling.
Very true.
Papachango
When you
finding
have
out.
them for sale here, if you just grab a few of them, you're pretty safe as long as you don't get one shot, especially by something like a white dragon or blue dragon. Both of those can really
Right.
cause you some issues early on with area effect attacks.
Yeah, then they get that they get that quick attack right out of the gate too.
Yeah,
And
they do.
in the
And
case of Pearl Dragon, sometimes more than one.
yeah, I think sometimes up to 3, and it could be Scar Beam for AoE, which is just pretty awful.
Yeah. All right, so both of our runners are going through getting some pretty decent loot out of these chests here, finding a lot of stuff to use and a lot of stuff to sell, which is sometimes more important. Gonna see what they decide to spend that money on. There's a lot of good options out there, mostly offensive, but let's see. I don't know if both runners have gone to Kolingen yet to look at the shops. I think they did, but
Plasmakappa has not yet. So Papachango went there first, just right off the rip. Got himself an Esper and found those amazing shops. Plasmakappa went a different route. He has not chosen to go there yet. He only has the Zen Thief Esper. So obviously we're hoping he goes there, but it looks like he is going to skip that for now and go straight to Doma defense.
This is not a bad play. He's been picking up rods at the shops. He's got an enhancer. He's got some earrings. He'll be able to deal with whatever grind fights happen to be available here at this. Another pretty decent way of picking up a bunch of levels early on is having a character that has extra little fights, either guaranteed or not, in their check. And Cyan is a pretty good one for that. Another option, I guess, after that would be to go to Mount Zozo in the World of Ruin, where there's another dragon waiting for him up there.
That is true. Yeah, that could be done. What's your preference when it comes to Cyan checks? Are you one to go into Doma Castle, go ahead and do your grind fights, then check the boss? Or are you more like me, where you do kind of what Plasmakappa is doing here and get your grind fights done outside, just in case the boss is particularly spicy?
Honestly, I usually try to get those grind fights in the check itself, which I don't necessarily sign off on that strategy for everybody. It's definitely caused me some problems in the past. But if you can save that extra couple of minutes, that might be a huge help by the time you get to the end game.
Definitely.
It's a
And
risk.
sometimes I've even done the thing where I just save outside, run into Doma, and check the boss first. If that boss is something easy, then I'll just reset and then grind. If it's something really disgusting, then I'll reset and go somewhere else.
I think that is a big piece of getting into the mid-range tier of ability in this game, is figuring out when it's appropriate to spend a little bit of time to get some information. For example, walking up Narsh to see what's hanging out in Umaro's cave, poking your head into if you have Sabin, for example, poking your head into the Phantom Train, seeing what's waiting for you there, stuff like that. And I think that's one that I never even really thought of, but it would be pretty quick. Not only would you get to see what the boss is, you'd get to see if it's a character or not there too.
Absolutely, and it is a safe check. It's something you can do. It is very safe. It is not super time effective, so it really depends on what your goals are. If you are really pushing hard to win a race, maybe it's not the move, but with high risk comes high reward sometimes. So, it's just a matter of risk tolerance.
Absolutely.
Now, one thing I wanted to mention, I think we forgot to mention this, both of our runners here, they do have their mentors assisting them in their ear. They do not necessarily guide them bit by bit, but they do help them with a little bit of thought process and, just gently guiding them as they move along. Our mentors tonight for Plasmakappa has Golden Shocker, who we have found is second place in Mega Elixir for Ultras League 6. So very much congratulations to him. And then we have Papachango's mentor is One Free Fits. which I believe was, I think, 3rd place in his Elixir pod. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to go against him next season. That is terrifying.
Uh-oh. All right, it looks like Plasmakappa took some of those grind fights, fought a few chicken lips outside of the castle, but I didn't see if they actually went in to finish the check off.
Doesn't look like they did. I think they must have been looking for something in particular in that airship. I'm not quite sure what. I find the airship is a great place to check, especially if you're looking for something in particular. I generally check that when I need throwables, tools, or dried meat. Those 3 things in particular, or warp stones in that case, if they're being truly elusive.
I think it might have been also for the free healing afterwards. Could talk to the guy with the lemonade there on the left.
That is a good call. All right, so I think we have thunder rods here. These cranes, we have 2 of them. The way I remember their weaknesses is left loves lightning, so don't use lightning on it.
Yep, that's a good mnemonic right there. That locked into my brain immediately.
Yeah. So I would be cracking that rod on the right side to take care of it. And I see some ice, so you can use that on the left side and finish this fight quite rapidly.
Papachango picking up a couple more super balls. Looks like they've only got the 2 so far. That's enough to take care of something early on. They're buying more. Yes, it's a good item. It unlocks really early game dragons. That's probably its most valuable use, but it is also really nice to have them on hand in case you run into a Magimaster or some other similarly high defense, high evasion boss, Tritok, for example, if you don't have any fire magic, things like that. They're good to have as a really nice panic button.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, for me, it's just whenever I see Super Balls show up anywhere, I want that early dragon. That's all I'm looking for. And it actually looks like that's what Papachango's looking at here.
Yeah, heading into Zozo. Good call.
We got a Magistite for our troubles over at Doma Siege, so let's see where he goes next. I would have to guess that he's going to go check out Kolingen for the loot, but let's see if that's where he's heading. Yep, off he goes. So he'll be getting his free check, and he will find the lovely treasure trove that is Super Balls and Illuminas for sale, and a nice little Esper for his troubles as well.
Yeah, picking up that Shiva. Papachango arranging his relics here a little bit. Looks like he's deciding who is going to be in charge of what. Umaru, of course, can't cast any magic, but Bolt 3 on that Shiva. That's a pretty good one to find early on. It's expensive, but if you can get the MP up for it, Bolt 3 is going to do a gobs of damage to pretty much anything until you start getting late in the game.
Definitely, and since he's getting ready to go fight a dragon anyway, if he can just take that out, that's instant Bolt 3 online for whoever has it.
Yep.
And it looks like plasmakappa, I do not think he checked the weapon shop, which is a bit tragic. He saw the Super Balls, didn't check the other shop, so the Illumina remains unknown on his side.
Ooh, that is a bummer. Oh, hey, looks like Papachango's taking some grind fights on the way up to Mount Zozo. That's interesting. I don't think I've seen a lot of players take that. I mean, there's no problem with that. Wherever you happen to be running through, go ahead and fight a couple guys in there if you want to get some XP. The Tuskers aren't terribly valuable, but it's good enough to get you up to 7 or 8.
Yeah, and that was kind of good knowledge, too, because I believe the other variant of those are Woolies, who would have absorbed that ice magic.
Yep.
So it's good that was not what they were. I'm not sure of the sort of cost and benefit ratio of cracking a rod on them, however, but hopefully it pays out, gets him his levels so he can take out that dragon.
I like it just to not run the risk, because Papachango's taken a couple of Espers here, so his scaling is, I want to say, so that's ×2, so it's 10, and level 3 characters against a level 10 enemy, even if it's kind of a weaker early game one, can mess you up in a pretty surprising way. So I agree with that. Best to just crack the rod. It's what you bought him for, so just snap that, get rid of it.
That is very true. Plasmakappa has decided to go check out Daryl's tomb. looks like he might give a shot at this monster in a box. So I wonder what it'll be. We have an Atmo weapon chilling here, so if it can be Katana Soul, the real question is, does he have the power to kill him, even if it is a Katana Soul? I'm not so sure he can this early.
Yeah.
I don't think we've learned Muddle yet, but it's possible. Let's see what we got.
Here's the white dragon.
Ah, the one we didn't want to see. Looks like Plasmakappa is not going to check.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, and we have an offering, however, in the coffin. So who needs a Katana Soul? Just go grave robbing. You'll find your offering, and you're good. But we do have Toilet Atma that we have to get through first. So if he's got Super Balls, now's the time.
Let's see what Papachango gets. A Genji glove. Not exactly the one that you want to see. I think they've already found one in a chest, but Genji glove is a very important piece to certain kinds of endgame offense, but not something that you can necessarily use a ton right away.
Yeah, not quite yet. I mean, we do have the Ragnarok and Atma, so you could use both of those on one character with that Genji. We also got a couple of Luminas we can go buy, so even with 2 Genji gloves, you can have 2 extremely powerful physical attackers with those melee weapons. And one thing I learned pretty early on in my Worlds Collide, playtime is don't fade the fight command. You know, if you got the weapons for it, especially if you have a plus strength Esper and maybe a hyper wrist, gauntlet, things like that, don't fade it. You'll save a lot of time having Genji glove and 2 weapons, or 1 weapon and a gauntlet.
I wholeheartedly agree. It's a fast command. The weapon and attack animations are pretty quick for basically everything. Everything that you're going to want to use anyway. The fixed dice. I'm a fan of the fixed dice for in certain situations. I know that's a bit controversial, but that can be a little bit of a bummer sometimes. And as a interesting contrast to that, Papachango just found Gao, who has health and throw, an extremely powerful combo.
That is amazing. I'm sure he will make good use of that. I'm not sure what throwables we found. I know we haven't bought any yet, but where do you stand on something like that? You're done with your shopping. You probably didn't write down where you found your skeins or your edges, and now you just show, a thrower shows up. Do you go shopping, or you just kind of, use what you got, throw some of your spare items, and then check shops when you're in the area?
Papachango showing off something else that we forgot to mention early on. The undead boss flag is turned off, which means all of the undead bosses still function the way they do in the vanilla game, which means you can just drop a little drop of lovely holy water or whatever there on Haydn and get rid of that fight right away. Fantastic job on Papachango's side.
Words cannot overstate my jealousy.
Kidding, right?
I wish I could just erase the hide on, or a ghost trade, or just get it out of my face right away.
Yeah, I don't want to look at this guy and his horrible band.
It's horrible band. I love it.
But going back to what you said earlier, I tend to buy a stack of shurikens if I see them. I usually don't buy skeins unless I happen to have a thrower already, which it is kind of a bummer when you find them. But I try to get those shurikens so that at least that character has something to do more immediately. And then as the game goes along, I try to maybe fold in a couple of extra trips to some shops that felt like they were, you kind of have to go by vibes a little bit with this. Just try to go to the ones that felt like they were there. I sort of try to, when I see them, I try to force myself to be excited about it, so that I'll remember, like, oh yeah, that one shop that I was excited about, let's try that one.
That does make a lot of sense, and I do the same thing. If you see shurikens, they're like, 30 gold a piece? So
oh yeah,
I'll buy like 20 or 30 of them in case a thrower does show up exactly like you said. Just chuck those, and if you're out looking for something else, or you're in a town, take a peek. We did see that Plasmakappa checked the airship, so not 100% sure if there were any there, but that's good information to have. If he comes across Gao and there were skeins there, it's solved. Go up there and stock up. But we do have a Dirt Dragon over in World of Ruin Narsh heading up to Yeti's checks. And I know Papachango is doing the Monster in a Box in the beginners... what do they call it? The Novice Center?
Oh, yeah, the beginner's school or something like that?
Yeah. So he's there. He took out those pugs with no problem. Is he blessed with a Minerva? He is not blessed with Minerva. That is upsetting.
Did steal one before the fight ended, thankfully, so did not leave that fight empty-handed.
He found one earlier too, so that's 2 Minervas sitting around, and I think we have at least 2 shields. So if Merton shows up and we have enough people to equip those Minervas, we're already Merton ready.
It's a very good place to be. Minerva, arguably more powerful, depending on what your equipment is, than Ultima. And I guess what you're fighting. If you're running it, well, Toilet, we know where Toilet Atma is, so we definitely wouldn't want to use Merton against that, but can be the best healing spell in the game if you got the right equipment.
You just got an army of, flame shields and red jackets, and you're good. Are there any others that absorb fire? This is one thing that I always forget, is what absorbs fire? I know red or fire shields.
The Rage Ring, I think, also does. That's sort of the off one. Uh-oh.
Ooh, we got spicy chicken over here, huh? But we got some level 3 spells, so we'll probably be fine. Downside is we don't have a 4th character yet, but it won't be much longer.
Okay, yeah, Setzer's doing almost 2k with that Bolt 3. That's gonna be pretty fun. I might consider tossing a couple of super balls against this guy too, just because his both his magic and physical defense are so high.
We've been mentioning super balls, and he does. Yeah, he's got. Okay, he has them. I was starting to think that he didn't buy any because he didn't use them on the dragons. He didn't use them on Toilet Atma. So I'm not sure what he's saving them for, but I say use them if you got them.
Absolutely, you're gonna want to have more consistent damage that you can guarantee on near the end of the game. But early on, running into a dragon, tossing a super ball at him and doing over 4,000 damage is so satisfying.
Oh, it really is, and it will speed up those chunky fights. I mean, we had the Dirt Dragon; he was pretty chunky. We had Toilet Atma, very chunky. We have Poltergeist, very chunky. So those are 3 of your top dogs for tossing those super balls. But maybe he's keeping some in reserve for the oops. There's a Magimaster out of nowhere. That could be a reason why he's holding on to him a little bit.
It's got a couple other options for that. It looked like I think Cyan had GP Rain, which is slow damage, but at the very least you can take care of it with it. I don't think they've found Berserk just yet. I believe Mute was on one of the espers that our runners had found, but no Mute and no Stop, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I think all they'd really have to work on it is going to be Super Balls, a Yeti chest bump, and GP Rain, which not the best offense for a Magimaster, but he does have good elemental defense, so I think he'd probably be fine.
Oh, that's true too. Got two Minervas are going to take care of a lot of that problem.
I don't think Plasma has it, but Papachango does. Plasma did not do the pugs in the Monster in a Box. But still, with all the shields they've found, I think even a Magimaster would have a bit of a struggle taking him out at this point.
Now, Papachango breaking a couple more rods on Poltergeist. The other fun fact about those things is the spell that a rod casts when it is used as an item does ignore defense and reflect, so it can be really useful to pull out in a situation like this where you might have good moves, but you might not quite have the stats to get past a boss's high defense.
That is very true and very good information. I'm going to follow that up with, there is one thing that those don't circumvent. If you are against Air Force and have taken out his torpedoes and he summons his little bit, it will absorb your rods and your shields.
Yes.
I had the unfortunate, unpleasant situation of running into him at the top of Fanatic's Tower.
Oh, no!
And he summoned his bit, and I had to sit there. Now, the good thing is, everybody keep note here, even if he summons his bit, he will do a countdown, and when the countdown finishes, he does a big attack, the bit goes away, and you can finish him, so it wasn't a soft lock, but it didn't feel great.
No.
We have Fun Baba over at plasmakappa's side for the Amaro check. Fun thing, he's a gigantic green ogre. You would think that maybe poison is not his, maybe don't use that on him, but I would say absolutely use it on him because that is his weakness.
He hates it, actually. And unfortunately, he loves electricity, which means that Bolt 3 wasn't going to be useful. But fortunately, they had Ice 2 to make up the difference. It's a little slower, but did the job, and plasmakappa got his Sabin.
One of my favorite characters for checks. Not only are his checks right next to each other, but you also have some good grind options for early game, and one of them is free when you're looking at the Burning House. Unfortunately, Sabin also has one of the lowest equip pools in the entire game, the lowest general magic of the entire game.
Yeah, it can be kind of unfortunate. His physical stats are really good, so if he manages to be able to equip an Illumina or that Ragnarok that they found, then then he's definitely got a spot in the party. But if you wind up with a Sabin that doesn't have many options other than magic, it can be kind of sad to have him around.
Definitely. If you can get him with a big weapon, like you said, you're in business. In this case, we have a Sabin with Capture, which is not our favorite skill in the world. Cool, you can attack and steal some stuff, but that's not something that's going to get us through. Okay, we got economizers. That's nice.
So another bit, I was hoping that we would get a chance to talk about this since, I was hoping one of the players would go to the Colosseum. Mughal Cup seeds also have a fully viewable Colosseum rewards list. So everything that you happen to have in your party or in your inventory, you can see what you can trade it in for. That's not normally the case, especially in Ultros League seeds. I want to say it's a certain percentage. But here
so we have offerings for tonics. Wow. We have Valiant Knives for Ice Shields, which is a bit of a
that's a tough one.
Yeah, but he's going for it, and it's free. It's free in terms of the fight, but yeah, an Ice Shield is it's a trade, especially if you don't have a lock in your party with the guaranteed equip.
Yeah.
I saw an offering in there as well, so there's a ready-made VK in there. He has Genji gloves, so he has ready-made. Oh no! Okay, yeah,
that's exciting.
We're gonna have a slapping Yeti here, guys.
I'm extremely down with this.
Yeah, this is gonna be good. So we're gonna have VK offering Yeti for the rest of this seed. Get ready, it's coming.
Gonna get a couple more economizers. They're pretty easy too. Skycap isn't too big of a deal. Especially with this happening now.
Oh yeah, I know Knuckly Kong is probably freaking out over there. This Yeti's gonna be popping off.
Looking forward to him soloing the entire final boss.
That is indeed how they have soloed the final boss for the Legends. The two that I know of who have attempted it, Retrophile TV and Drinks Glue, solo Yeti challenges. I believe VK offering is one of the main cornerstones of making that possible.
So Papachango taking a look in that shop, seeing those Illuminas, doesn't quite feel like they have the inventory to get it yet. They're not full price, thankfully, but 50,000 is nothing to sneeze at.
I think I would liquidate for at least one of them. Did we see if Sabin could use it? Because if he could, there would be... I would not hesitate for a second. I'd sell everything I had to get him equipped with it.
I don't believe
he could use a Ragnarok,
Yeah, he got the Rag, though.
Okay, yeah, we're fine. Sabin will be just fine with that fight command forever. Plasmakappa has decided to go check out the Opera House over in World of Ruin. Go take himself a dragon. We got an Icy Boy. Generally one of the least threatening ones in terms of killing you, and some of the most threatening in terms of ruining your time by north crossing your entire party.
Yep.
But that's not the case this time. Down he goes.
Also, he's just a little guy. He's a little cutie.
Yeah. And as Gretham mentions, that Yeti is the only one who could use VK and Illumina, so no wonder he hasn't purchased it yet.
Man, that's a good equip pool for the Yeti. Oh, hey, found some fixed dice. So Setzer has something to do now, if nothing else.
Sell those for the Illumina.
Actually, yeah, honestly, yeah, no, there's an Illumina in a shop. Fixed dice can pound sand. That's not that's an easy trade to make.
Definitely, especially with the other offense that we have now. We got a Sabin with a Ragnarok. We got plenty of level 3 spells. Plasmakappa has a VK offering Yeti. So, yeah, I don't think we have to worry about the slowness and unreliability of the dice in this case.
Which, yeah, that VK offering Yeti also is a pretty solid solution to Magimaster. The VK ignores defense, and the offering ignores evasion. So he will definitely hit, and he'll do full damage every single time.
That is fantastic knowledge to have that the offering does deny evasion because Magimaster has extremely high evasion and extremely high physical defense. VK and offering negates both of those.
Plasmakappa finding a merit award in there. That's an interesting one. It's generally considered to be not a great find, but considering how many endgame swords are being thrown around and how many characters we've been finding that do not naturally equip them, it could be a good way to get a reluctant high-level character that you haven't found a replacement for yet a spot in your party.
Absolutely, and you can even use it. We know those Illuminas can't be used by virtually anybody, but a Merit Award Genji glove. Now you can use two Illuminas.
There you go, and you got one of the best defensive items in the game.
Absolutely. We were rewarded with an Esper in the Crumbling House, and just looks like we're checking out the relic shop here. Oh, we decided to sell the Merit Award, so away that goes.
Yeah, that's also fair. I might have also sell that Aura Lance too, considering, jumping with the Dragon Horn is pretty great. You can get gobs of damage out there, but you've been finding Genji gloves, you know that you can get offerings. I guess no, you can't necessarily get offerings pretty easily. Those were for ice shields, but
I think it was the VK for ice shields, but it was an offering for tonics, if I recall.
I think the tonic. No, the tonic was. Oh, the tonic was the offering. I thought the tonic was the economizer. There's so much good stuff in the Colosseum this time. I completely forgot.
Yeah, so I mean, we got free offerings. I'm always a little skeptical when it comes to offerings because I kind of don't love untargetable offense.
Yeah.
At least when I get to Kefka, I love it for the rest of the game. But it's once I get to final Kefka, I start to not love it so much since you can't target and focus fire like you want to.
Yeah, that's super fair.
Let's see if Plasmakappa knows the Revivify trick here, and it looks like he might not. Now, as we mentioned, they do have their mentors in their ears, but they are not guiding them by the hand. They're assisting with little things here and there, but they are not going to outright say, hey, Revivify that hide-on. So, as Plasmakappa does not necessarily remember he can do that, he's going to have to fight him the long way.
Yeah, I think it's mostly they're there to answer questions rather than explicitly tell them what to do.
What we got going on over in Papachango's side?
He is going through the Imperial camp, finding a couple of pretty easy fights with some decent experience that you can just take care of with a multi-target spell. Unfortunately, finding some fixed dice at the end of that, which we've kind of already discussed why that's not necessarily the best thing in the world. Finding Presenter in the Monster in a Box, also not really great.
Yeah, well, at least he knows. So he knows if he needed it later, he knew it wasn't here at the very least. But yeah, fixed dice, not quite what you're looking for out of a grind check, in the middle of a seed.
Plus, he's I guess not slightly ahead necessarily anymore. Maybe on levels, but both Papachango and Plasmakappa have... it looks like... they have equal amounts of progression. Plasmakappa is looking for... He's one character down, but one Esper up from I think I said that right. They both start with P. I think I might have messed that up.
Yeah, and Plasmakappa is about to go get his Gao, so we'll see what he decides to do with him. I'm curious what we're going to find in the Phantom Train, though. Anything interesting?
Yeah, thankfully a really quick one. Celeste, that's a great find.
That's a natural Illumina user.
Yep, natural Illumina user, and she has got some really good checks. Plus X Magic. X Magic is going to be very valuable in this seed with Bolt 3 floating around there. And I believe I saw Life 3 also as well. That can be a really, really effective version of Calmness Protection if you don't happen to have anything else, especially if you have somebody with X Magic. It's not going to take you too long.
That is very true, and we know we can get economizers for dirt cheap at the Colosseum. Actually, he hasn't gone to the Colosseum yet. He doesn't know that just yet, but that can come in handy later if he chooses to check it out.
Ooh, he did. Drinks Glue in the chat pointing out he dropped Umaro for the Celeste. Now that's... I'm not sure if I agree with that, if I'm being perfectly honest, considering he's the Valiant Knife. Oh, wait, he doesn't have the
He
Valiant
doesn't
Knife.
know.
That's
Yeah.
Plasmakappa's side. Okay.
I think with the information that he has,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
knowing that he's a VK user, Umaro, that I would have probably done the same thing. Now, had I known he was a VK offering user, nah, he's sticking around.
Yeah, I take that
We're here
back.
to party.
That's given the information he's got, that was the thing to do. Plasmakappa preparing to obliterate this dragon here. Couldn't quite take him out before he got the Scar Beam off, whereas Papachango somehow managed to completely undermine his starting script there.
Yeah, it looks like we got 2 attacks from the dragon, so that's not too terrible. You know, we hope for, 1 at the least. I believe he always will start with something. I could be wrong, but yeah, he can spam you pretty hard. But he went down fast enough, so he's getting ready to find his Gao.
Yeah, I think Papachango goofed up his script a little bit by the Yeti getting a tackle out early on, which sometimes things like that can mess with the automatic scripts of the monsters. I know there's a couple of situations where the Yeti can hit some of the final Kefka pieces and change what they're going to do at the beginning. Because I don't know if maybe it's tied to them having full health or something like that. I'm not sure. Haven't looked too deeply into that, but that's something I have noticed. Another interesting little minor benefit to having Yeti in there is sometimes he can just make the computer lose its mind.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One thing I just want to kind of point out here, due to the varying paths that our players have gone through, you can see that Papachango is still sort of desperately looking for an offering. Meanwhile, Plasmakappa, he went and did Daryl's tomb so early that he had an offering from the start, and has also checked the Colosseum and found more offerings. So, due to those checks, he no longer has to worry about monsters in a box. But Papachango, without that information, is still going to check all those monsters in a box trying to find one. So it's interesting the kind of changes that can occur just with the slight changes of your routing.
Yeah, and Papachango was kind of in the lead for a little while there too. At least in terms of scale, not in terms of scaling, excuse me, in terms of progression, characters and espers, and had an extra dragon on Plasmakappa as well. But considering Plasmakappa's offense is gotten so good, has been able to slide through some things a little bit faster than Papachango has.
Definitely. And Plasmakappa has decided to do the ever controversial late Velt check. I hope that does pay off. If I recall correctly, a group of 5 or more cannot spawn Gao. Is that right? It's only 4 or less and no pincer attacks?
Ooh, I know definitely not the pincer attacks. I did not know. That might actually be true, because it loads that character sprite as an extra monster in with the rest of them. And if there's 5 enemies, that might be too many.
Yeah, I believe I've heard that several times. I'm curious if anybody in chat might know. And this is the downside right here to doing late Velt checks, is you do got to deal with dragons, but then also you have an Umara with a VK, so who cares, right?
Wow, just forget it.
And he gets Gao's second try for killing a dragon, so fantastic. I love the way that worked out. Put a dragon in place and get your reward and move right along. And rewarded with a Magicite. We couldn't have asked for much better of a Velt than that.
Yeah, the one positive to the Velt check, doing that later perhaps, is that it's going to be progression. So Plasmakappa with down 1 character and still needing some espers knew that whatever they got out of this, it was going to be useful.
Oh, we got a Doma Dream play at Papachango, huh?
Yeah, paradoxically shooting the Lightning Welk with lightning, killing that off pretty quick. Finding that one at this point in time is nice. You don't want to find him early on when you don't necessarily have high offense, and you actually don't really want to find him in Kefka's Tower, where you might be stuck with 1 character and you might have to look at a Gru.
No one wants to see that Gru, and using lightning is a good idea there. I find it more effective later on in the seed, or earlier on in the seed, when you don't necessarily have the power to kill him before he goes back in his shell. using lightning is ultra safe because even if he grooves on you, then you still will just, his shell will heal and you won't get countered with, a Bolt 3. So that's good knowledge to have.
Yeah, that's a good piece of information. The counter only happens when he takes damage. So if you heal him, I guess he just says thank you and everybody moves on with their lives.
Exactly. Plasmakappa has decided to jump off a waterfall. See who we find down there.
It's crazy.
Tunnel armor. I think we'll be okay. Is the Yeti just going to finish it in one go? I think he might.
Probably.
And if not, that Bolt 3 sure will take care of it. In general, Worlds Collide, any robots are going to be weak to water and Bolt. So you got one of those, you got an Aqua Rake Rage or a Lore user, or you got yourself some Bolt 3, zap him out and he's done.
Yeah, there's not a full consistency. There's a bunch of enemy types that are pretty similar. Like obviously everything that's flying is going to be immune to Earth and things like that. But for example, that one the woolly mammoth thing that they found earlier, that was the one that doesn't absorb ice. The other two versions do.
That is very true. Yeah, that there is always going to be some variations, but there are some good generalizations to keep in mind as well, and then learn those differences later. And we are rewarded with a Terra at the end of the waterfall, so that is his 6th character as well. In chat, I see that Glue would like to know, who do you think has the advantage right now?
Yeah, I would probably agree with Passaran that mentioned Kappa probably has the advantage. Has a couple more pieces of equipment to really make all of those offensive weapons sing. And Papachango, unfortunately, running into Magimaster, that's
that is not
like
great. I don't think they have their Berserk yet, but I'm seeing a lovely idea here, and this is one of my favorite tactics to keep in mind when you are unprepared for a rogue Magimaster, and that is before he's attacked, you can hit him with whatever you want, so make it count.
Yep.
Go crack a shield, do that 10,000, that way you have less less damage to deal with, and using those dice also.
Hey, Shurikens work too.
Yeah, I'm loving what I'm seeing here on Papachango's side, using all of his tools to his advantage here.
A really good showing of, God, what's the word I'm looking for? Improvising. Running into a problem, realizing you're not quite kitted out for it, but then taking an assessment of everything you have on you and deciding, okay, I can take care of this. It's just not going to be quite as clean as I'd like. However, Papachango gave him a whooping. That was a pretty good fight.
Who needs Berserk? Magimaster's
right.
a scrub. I don't know why everybody's so worried about him. Easy game, right?
Yeah, no big deal. Easiest boss in the game.
Yeah, cake. I don't know. Everybody makes such a big deal about him. All you got to do is everything right, and he goes down. No problem.
Yeah, exactly. All you have to do is make no mistakes, and it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, overall, I think that was a wonderful display of skill and knowledge on Papachango's side, that he was able to adapt so quickly and use all of his tools to really, really put him in his place. He stood no chance.
And got a couple of espers out of it. I believe there was one dead check at the beginning. I missed what the Welk reward was.
It was a flame shield, something we definitely do not give a crap about right now.
Yeah, not right now. But it might be good to crack it against Final Kefka, but
absolutely. And we're getting pretty close here to determining who's going to unlock Final Kefka's Tower first. So one other thing we didn't mention is that unlike Ultros League seeds, in order to get the skip, you actually need to get 2 of the objectives as opposed to just 1, and those objectives are 22 checks, 9 characters, or 12 espers. You gotta get 2 of those to get the skip. This is to incentivize our newer Moogle runners to run up that tower, learn that routing, learn how to properly set up their group in order to overcome it, as opposed to just getting your skip and not having to worry about it and never really learning it.
It is important. Take it from me. If you have been focusing on skip this entire time and suddenly you find yourself in a position where you can't use it, Going through regular Kefka's tower can be grueling, and you might not necessarily know when to hang a left. Uh, really nice to have that information early on.
Yeah, you
But
got to learn even if it's unpleasant, right?
and yes, chat was pointing out earlier, Plasmakappa is going to be in go mode after they finish this stream. So unless Magimaster pulls out something weird, Plasmakappa is going to be making their way into the tower here, probably in the next 5 minutes or so.
Definitely. I mean, let's be real here. What do we have to go against Magimaster?
Oh yeah,
we have a
tons.
VK offering. I think he could just start the battle and then go get himself a drink of water, and Yeti will handle it for him in this case.
Essentially.
So whether he chooses to chest bump or VK offering, he could pretty much just eat Magimaster on his own.
Chat mentioning that he retired his VK Yeti. I completely missed that.
No, did he?
That is extremely unfortunate if true. Unless somebody else can use that VK.
Oh no, that's tragic. Does that just automatically give the win to Papachango?
I think it might. Well, it's still got other options. There have been fixed dice floating around. Hopefully, Plasmakappa has access to some of those. I believe they're still using that Gao, so they can just throw stuff, shurikens, and otherwise, and they can still use that strategy you mentioned of just throwing out your biggest magic attack right at the beginning to get whatever damage you can get in before wall change starts showing up.
Most definitely. I think that's probably the single most important thing to do if you're going to come across a Magimaster that you don't have Berserk on. But we shall see here shortly how he chooses to handle him if he got rid of his Star Yeti. I'm going to have some questions for him during commentate once we drag him in here.
Yeah, looks like brought the Terra in instead. I mean, I kind of see that. Terra is another natural greatsword user, so she can use she can use the Ragnarok, she can use those Illuminas, the Atma weapon, all those sorts of things. Oh, she does have Blitz. Okay, Blitz is not too bad.
Not too bad. The question is are they going to go for Bum Rush, which could very much allow Papachango to sort of make up the gap here in time, since it does take some time to unlock that. I think it's about a minute and 30 seconds just watching that cutscene.
Plasmakappa doing something very interesting. This might be...
Oh, he is going with Reflect strats. That is very interesting. This is a more niche skill that you don't see too often.
I did not know about this one.
Yeah, when he does his area, he wants to cast every spell on himself. So if he's got Reflect, he's going to cast his area effect spells on himself as well, causing damage if he hasn't had his shield put up yet. So this Flare Star might very well hit him, which it did there. So yeah, this is weird AI manipulation when it comes to the scripting on Magimaster. When you cast Reflect on him, he will cast all spells on himself and just punch himself in the face till he dies. It is unfortunately very, very slow. So this is going to give Papachango a wonderful chance to make up this time.
That is fascinating. Yeah, because I think the original Magimaster just used regular black magic. It didn't use any of these weird little enemy skills that pop up here.
Yeah, it's a very interesting skill. I have only seen it, maybe only twice ever utilized. So it's cool to see this very niche stat or skill showcased here in the Moogle Cup. It just goes to show how much our runners have learned over the course of this Moogle Cup. And, if anybody's watching right now who's interested in learning this randomizer, we highly encourage you to, sign up if you want to learn how to do these races yourself. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, this is a big tournament that we held to showcase this this thing that we're doing in the Discord. If you want to join up with that, we do have a mentor program still going on. So if you want to get some knowledge and skills from the veteran players, you can still sign up to have one of them kind of walk you through a seed, let you know like why things are happening and why they make the decisions that they do.
Absolutely.
Very valuable.
Yeah, definitely. And that's not something that's that has to just be for newer runners. I know there are some high tier runners that still ask for VOD reviews. that sometimes still ask for mentoring, to help them improve their game. So even if you have run a bunch of seeds, maybe you're a potion or even an elixir runner, and you want to get some extra tips and extra insight from these high tier runners, we have our mentorship program available. So definitely consider checking that out if you're interested in upping your game.
Yeah, honestly, I should probably sign up for one of those at some point. So yeah, let's see if Papachango can get... If they get an Esper out of this, then they will have gotten their go mode before Plasmakappa.
Yeah, this is a very huge, having this much difficulty with Magimaster. I don't think he has a much more left, but yeah, he went down, but that definitely let Papachango take the lead here. So let's see what he does with that unlock.
Still a little bit lacking in offense compared to Plasmakappa, although maybe not as much now that they've dropped their Yeti. But thankfully, then I believe I saw Papachango with a dual wielding Illumina Celeste, which is always fun to have. I'm gonna do a little bit of shopping before going into the tower. It looks like.
Looks like good note taking on Papachango's side. He went straight here for that Atlas armlet. He must have needed it for that physical damage. Maybe he's going to choose to put that on Celis with those two Illuminas. Does increase fight damage.
Not a bad call. Which maybe somebody in the chat who's a little bit more knowledgeable than me can let me know if that also affects the magic cast that happens afterwards. I don't think it does, but I know that there are some little goofy flags that end up affecting more things than you might expect.
I'm inclined to say that that's based on your magic power for the proc. I'm not 100%, but I'm fairly certain. We do also have a question by very nondescript in here that no Ultima upon death from Magimaster. His Ultima counter upon death has been removed in Ultras League. So that is thankfully one thing we don't have to worry about when we deal with the dreaded Magimaster. And Offering does block the magic procs. That's why generally you never want to use Offering on either of the elemental procking weapons, be it Illumina or Ragnarok. Those two, you should leave those for the Genji gloves, for the hyper wrists, for the gauntlets, for the hero rings, but you don't want to be using offerings on those. Generally, your offerings are going to be used on three main things, and that's going to be your VKs, Valiant Knives, your Atma weapons, and your snipers.
Yep. I think Gauntlet might have been what I was thinking of. I think that might also affect the proc damage. There's something that involves that. Maybe it's the critical hit aspect of the Ragnarok and the Illumina. I apologize. I'll have to look that up.
Oh, that's okay.
I mean, not right now, but
that's another thing that Offering actually gets rid of if you use it on a Ragnarok or an Illumina, is you can no longer magic crit. So no procs, no magic crits when you use your the Offering on those. So it's generally very detrimental overall to use an Offering on those weapons.
There can be some edge cases where, for example, if all you have is a Ragnarok and or an Illumina, and you run into Magimaster, well, no, because his defense is super high too, so that's not really going to do you much good. Maybe there aren't any edge cases.
Yeah, I can't think of a time that I would ever want to use that. I'd rather just swing one time to save the time and do full damage, especially if I have a Atlas Armlet or if I have a Hero Ring. You're just going to do that extra damage, and it's much faster. Cutting your damage in half and losing your auto crit, I believe already is a net even, but you lose time.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, the auto crit makes up for that. So we'll see who this first boss is here that Papachango is going to have to deal with. Oh, hey, Natural Inferno. And unfortunately, no Setzer to steal some extra shields, but Celeste is here to do all of the damage in the world.
I think we're probably good on shields, and yeah, I think she's going to eat through him just fine. Inferno being like the definition of a glass cannon. He can really go ham on you, but he also does not have much health even at max scaling, so he'll go down this next attack.
Way less than you would expect for an endgame boss.
Yeah, I want to say it's like 15,000. 15 to 18,000, so very low for an in-game boss at max scaling.
So as our runners are heading up this tower here, I have an interesting. I shouldn't have started talking because I already forgot what I was going to say.
English is hard, man.
It is. I've been speaking it my entire life, and it still gets me sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, if it comes back to you, let me know. But I do see that Papachango's taking out some dragons, so he's making sure that he is properly leveled for this final Kefka coming up.
I don't mind this. He knows that Celeste is going to be doing big gobs of damage, probably going to take it out in 2 hits, honestly, and doesn't need any experience on Umaro, but Celeste is probably going to get, I would say, 2 or 3 levels out of this.
Oh, most definitely. And one very important thing to know about Final Fantasy VI, yes, magic is busted, but if you're going to use fight as a command, especially when you're using Genji, the only thing that really matters at the end of the day is your levels. The higher level you are, your damage is going to amplify so much per level. So pitting your Illumina user directly against a dragon at the end here is a fantastic idea. That might increase your damage by 1,000 to swing from that one dragon.
Yep. Yeah. A point of vigor is maybe. I suppose you could look at the formula and know exactly what the difference is, but a point of vigor is pretty substantially less valuable than even a single level when it comes to fight damage.
Well, I do.
Magic's just busted out of the gate. All you need is those 2 earrings, and you can do like 4K with a level 2 spell at the end of the game.
Definitely. Now, when it comes to the formula for vigor-based fight attacks, I do believe your level is multiplied twice. It's your level times your level,
Yes.
which is part of the reason why getting levels is so huge. I believe it's like vigor times level, something along those lines. So getting that extra level in there spikes it a ton, even with 1 or 2.
I think your vigor is also multiplied by 2. That's why there's that weird bit of it where having, I think it's 128 vigor, that's the maximum. You're not going to get any more actual damage increase out of having more vigor than that because of the way that it calculates there. Magic keeps making you better all the way up to 255, but you're not likely to hit 255 of a stat in a game of Worlds Collide. Oh, Plasmakappa also taking on a dragon. Wanting to get that Terra up and running.
Well, if you're going to abandon a VK Yeti, I guess you got to make Terra worth the trade, And it looks like that's the exact same build that Papachango has, just with different hair color. So they both have the same idea, and I'm all here for it.
So yeah, this is getting really exciting. Both runners have been staying pretty close for the entire game, and one was getting slightly ahead of the other, and then Plasmakappa got a little bit ahead of Papachango, and I think Papachango's now again a little bit ahead of Plasmakappa. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, listen, there's a reason why these two are at the top. They're very obviously closely matched, and it's an amazing run to see. And despite this back and forth, when it comes to seeds like this, we don't know what's going to happen till that final Kefka happens.
That's true. There can be a lot of nonsense that goes on in the final Kefka fight.
He is the great equalizer, I do believe. You can be behind by an upwards of 5 minutes sometimes and make up that time in a single Kefka fight. Mm-hmm. It can be quite amazing to watch.
Sometimes just based on pure luck, too. If you wind up on Tier 1 running into a lot of, what is it called? Not reverse G, but the thing that swaps your rows. That just kind of ends, you end up losing polarity. A turn. Reverse polarity, thank you.
Our polarity, yeah. Either that, or you can get dreaded over and over, which is great. Or you could have an especially punchy short arm that just wants to counterattack everything you do. There's a lot of randomness to it as well, for sure, like you mentioned.
Or even just losing focus for a split second and accidentally killing both 2 parts of the last or the second tier at the same time. Wind up with a quarter into 10 hit combo.
Oh yeah, we've done that before. Or I've done that before several times, getting a little bit cocky, and next thing you know, quarter straight into 10 hits, and you can just ruin your whole run. And we have fish.
Yeah, this is another one that is not really... you're not going to lose to the piranhas necessarily unless your armor is really, really garbage, but oh boy, sure does take a while when you kill a group of them and you see another group pop up. And you're like, I've been here for 5 days.
Speaking of spicy bosses, we got ourselves a Doomgaze, but it looks like we do pass math class today. So we just gotta blast through him, and we should be okay, but he could be a little spicy with his Dooms.
Yeah, we'll see how much he decides to cast Arrow. If he's using his regular spells, that's fine, but he does have Doom, and that can really ruin your day.
Oh, speak of the devil, look what you did. It's not so bad. He'd be all right with that one. Fun fact about Rizzopass, both of the runners are going to have to deal with the same length of fight. That is a time-based encounter. I believe it is from, 10 to 60 seconds before Rizzopass will show up?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so you can get a short Rizzopass where, 10 seconds after the fight begins, you kill the fish, he'll pop right up, or otherwise you just got to kind of slog it out until he decides to show up. But my general tactic when dealing with that fish is I'll start the battle and just wait 10 seconds before I even kill the fish. Just let the time tick, and then kill the fish. If it doesn't work, count to 10 seconds, kill the fish, count 10 seconds, kill the fish, and eventually he'll pop up and you finish him then.
It is always an unfortunate one to find, but you do kind of know at the very least, like, okay, well, this isn't going to be worse for me than it is for the other player. Like the Magimaster fight lost plasmakappa a little bit of the lead there, but running into Piranha at the worst possible time is pretty handy. Because you know exactly what your opponent's going to go through.
Exactly, and as you said, it's the same time for everybody, so at least you're not losing time in a race, but what really feels bad is when you're on PB pace, you're in Kefka's tower, you're on the last boss, and you got a 60-second fish.
Yes.
Kind of the worst thing ever. So that's when it really feels bad. It's annoying when you have to deal with it in a race setting, at least. But very rarely fatal, though, it is fun to have that fish cast level 3 spells on you. Because he's got some moves at max scaling.
Plasmakappa getting tons of procs on Dullahan, gonna make short work of this guy.
Definitely. It looks like we are about one boss apart right now. Or is it 2 bosses?
I think it's 2.
Yeah, I think it's 2 bosses apart. It looks like Papachango is about to start his climb.
Oh, maybe
could be wrong, or maybe he has one more. I think he has one more side to do. He hasn't done Doomgaze yet. Yeah, he's got Doomgaze to do. So let's see if he passes his math class.
Yeah, I didn't get a good look at what the levels for this particular team was, so we'll just have to cross our fingers.
Let's find out right now. All right. 2 graduates. Look at them go.
Everybody's happy.
Okay, we got a couple physical attackers using that Atmo weapon finally. It's good to see.
This is another good fight for that too, because Doomgaze doesn't have crazy high defense, but as you can see there, like Sabin, who is objectively stronger than Setzer, was doing less damage with his physical attack, because the Atmo weapon ignores defense, and the Ragnarok does not.
Atmo weapon is a fantastic weapon. It's a little bit weird to use when you have to deal with the fact that your damage is reduced by the percentage of your health. So if you're at 65% health, you're doing 65% damage with the Atma, but that defense ignoring quality is amazing.
It's a nice weapon to have in conjunction with a character with health like Gao too. You don't necessarily want your Atma user to have health, but if somebody else does, they can keep them topped off.
Oh, definitely. So generally you want a little bit of health when dealing with an Atma weapon. You don't maybe want to stack up your health all the way. You'd rather be going for vigor, but if you have a way to bump your health a little bit to reduce the percentage amount that you lose per hit, it's a good idea.
Yeah, the HP is more for damage mitigation, or mitigating the amount of damage you lose, I guess is the more appropriate way to say that, versus the Valiant Knife, where increasing your health is just almost a 1-for-1 damage upgrade if you happen to get that character low.
100%, and off Papachango goes to final Kefka. First one on our switches at about 105.08. So let's see how we do here.
I still think that Plasmakappa has a bit more damage capability under their belt, but we'll see if they can managed to make that work for them. Looks like they still have a boss to go through before they get to start their final fight.
They do. I think he's got slightly better offense, but I think a lot of that extra offense might have been lost a bit with the loss of the Yeti. That was
That's
really
true.
a crux of the offense that we've been going on here. So we'll have to see how he does. I mean, he's got a very similar build. He's got his thrower with shurikens. He has Terra with the double Illuminas. And, you know, he's got a VK and a Ragnarok user, so he's got a lot of physical damage going for him here. So that could make things quick. But so does Papachango.
Yeah,
I think this is going to come down to execution.
Yeah, definitely. Plasmakappa isn't too far behind. You know, less than 5 minutes, which, as we mentioned earlier, you can easily lose 5 minutes from just random nonsense in the final Kefka fight. Ooh,
Absolutely.
Odin not working.
That is... Ooh, he's using Fader too. Oh, one thing to keep in mind here in these flags is that Espers can be used between tiers. So that's another change between the Moogle Cup and the Ultros League flags. So he can use Phantom every single tier of this fight if he wanted to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, multi-summon. Oh, and they have X-Zone anyway, so...
Yeah, one thing to mention, I see something in chat here that about a fixed dice Sabin. Now, fixed dice, it can be good, and it can completely ruin your life. It's extremely slow, and it's extremely random, so there's a chance that Plasmakappa could save some time with the offering dice, but more often than not, I find that it will burn me more than it will help me.
I like the fixed dice early game, because you're not doing, you know, I mean, like very early game, like the first maybe 4 or 5 checks. I think in those situations, it's a really effective tool to, you know, I guess pray to RNGs is a little bit to see if you can't get like a 666 or something like that and wind up doing like 6,000 damage to an enemy at level 3.
Oh, but completely busted early.
But once the game goes on, you're more likely to have more access to something a little bit more, not necessarily a little bit more effective, but a little bit more consistent. Although one way of getting around that is popping those Dragoon Boots on your dice user, which it still gives you the extra damage you would get from a jump, but it has the added effect of reducing the comparatively long attack animation of those dice. Not long compared to, you know, a spell necessarily, but much longer than swinging a sword around.
Definitely, and I think that your net damage when you're using a jumper is going to be lower. But they're up in the air doing their thing. You could be attacking with your other characters, then they're just going to land when they land and do their thing. So it can be good overall if you're not going to use it as your primary offense. And yeah, we got Plasmakappa on the switches right about 108.27. So a few minutes behind here, and we got Papachango on tier 2. Let's see if Odin hits this time.
Yeah, so I guess it might be a good idea to go through real quick how these tiers end up working. I think I've done this enough times to be able to do it nice and quick. Tier 2 is interesting. There's that little pile of crud in the middle there. That's the piece that Papachango is hoping that Odin works on. It's weak to instant death. There's that tiger face down there. That guy's just a jerk. Weak to ice, but has a bunch of really strong attacks. We'll use a zombie on you. Magic user in the back will cast magic, but he is vulnerable to mute for some reason. So if you have mute, go ahead and just turn him off. And then the blue guy in the front he just hits. His name is Hit, and that's what he do.
It hits things. That's all he does. So yeah, this is one of the more irritating fights that you can get in. This tier 2 can really spiral out of control. We saw a muddle there, and that could be disastrous, along with Doom Tusk from Tiger. Those two things, removing control of your characters, can just completely kill you outright. You know, it's always fun getting muddled or Doom Tusked into an Ultima on your own party and instant fight restart. Now, we didn't go over tier 1, so I'll just do a rapid fire of that one too. We got the long arm closest to the screen. That one, instant deathable. You can go ahead and X-Zone, break it, Odin, whatever you can possibly do to kill it, get rid of it. The head is weak to fire. You do want to kill long arm first. You want to kill head second, or either one. It doesn't matter what order. You want to kill those two first and leave the clenched up short arm for last. If the short arm, or if the head dies last, you get quaked. which can be disastrous. If the long arm dies first, you can get shockwaved, and the short arm just likes to punch you in the face when you hit it, but it won't death counter. So that makes it safest to go ahead and kill short arm first, or last. I apologize, last.
Yeah, and using the Phantom Esper is a good call there too when you have that thing at the end, because it's all it can do is physical attacks. It does a big physical attack. I mean, even endgame characters with good equipment are taking upwards of 1,000 damage from it. But if everybody's invisible, then nothing happens. So
yeah, those counters are no joke. I have lost my carry characters by getting a little cocky and attacking it and finishing the fight, and then he just counter punches for 1,500 damage because their armor isn't good enough, and now I don't get to have him for the rest of the fight. It's definitely something we don't want to underestimate.
That happened to me last night on my Ultra Sleek seed. I lost a Mog because I just got a little too cocky. He got smacked for a critical hit and took like 1,700 damage, and then the short arm died and everybody moved on with their lives.
Yeah. Now we got both on tier 2 here, but it looks like, we have Papachango rocking those phantom strats. That makes 10 hits not only negligible, but probably 100% faster.
Yes.
You don't have to watch that hit animation over and over. Just zip, zip, zip 10 times, you move on. So plasmakappa moved up, but so did Papachango just a couple seconds after. So we're still about a tier apart. Now you want to go over tier 3? Or you want me to go over tier 3?
I'll go over tier 3. I hate tier 3. It is my least favorite thing in this entire game. That the little bust in the back there, the little lady head, that is a pretty weak character. I think it's only got 9,999 HP. Yep, there we go. However, it does cast Whirlwind, as you saw there, so you know that's one reason to want to get rid of it first. The other reason to want to get rid of it first is that it will cast Life 2 on the piece in the front, which is a much more standard high HP fight. And unfortunately, you would want to kill the thing in the front first, but you can't because the thing in the front will hit you with Calmness at the end of it once you reduce its HP to 0. Calmness is a very interesting move. It does not function like most of the rest of the things in the game. It is a physical attack, so Blink will take care of it, Vanish will take care of it, Golem will take care of it. It does not do any damage, and it does not technically have an instant death effect. All it does is sets your HP to 0. So the safety bit will do nothing to protect you from that move. Fenrir and Golem are the two most popular ways of dealing with it. Phantom can work, but unfortunately, Phantom's invisibility thing can get negated by some of Tier 3's counterattacks that it will get when it starts getting low on health. Namely, Meteo, which does a pretty sizable amount of damage and will ignore magic defense. So if
it's actually a little worse than that. It's 100% hit rate on vanished characters, too.
Yes. Yeah, normally, actually, it doesn't have a super high accuracy rate. Like, if I'm taking a Meteo, I tend to notice one or two characters managing to block it, but if everybody's vanished, then everybody's going to get hit by it, guaranteed.
Ooh, we have spicy Phantom strats. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, he's got
quick. Perfect. Nailed it.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's how we do it. So he's not going to counter in between quick hits. So by doing this, putting Phantom up and using his fight with 2 Illuminas, he's going to hit him twice. He's going to hit him 2 more times. He's going to die and go to Calmness.
Yeah, because the counterattack starts showing up, I want to say, when it's down to about 12,000 HP. So once it starts doing counterattacks, you know you have a pretty good shot of taking it out if you can do at least 10k, which by this point, if you don't have Calmness protection, you kind of want to have some ability to be able to do, at least quad 9s with one shot.
Most definitely, and quick is probably the single best thing you can have, besides maybe, I don't know, an Atma offering, VK offering, for pushing that final phase. If you have quick, it makes pushing him to Calmness so safe. And again, we're both one phase apart. One's moving up, and the other one's moving up. So
Papachango obviously still in the lead, but plasmakappa is not letting him take a greater lead, which will be good if if Papachango can avoid some of the trickier stuff from Final Kefka, namely the counterattacks, I think is probably what is the scariest part of this particular fight.
Well, he's seeing now that he knows now in the beginning what the main threat is Fallen One. So if you can push him past the I believe it's a 30,000 damage, he will no longer do Fallen One. So he's cracked a shield for 10. He's hit for 8 with quick, so that's another 16.
Yep.
Yeah, and he bypassed. It must be about 20,000 then. So he goes straight into Goner phase. Now all he has to do is push hard. If he can push through this and finish this off in Goner phase, he cannot counter here. So we're hoping that he finishes this up right now before Goner goes off, but even if it does go off, he should be okay. And we're trusting on... No, I thought we were trusting on Dice here. I thought we might have an offering on Setzer.
I think they just did that to get something out since Setzer had the Atma weapon on earlier.
Understandable.
I think this might be it though. That's quick on Celeste might be enough to take care of this.
That might be it.
And
Bam, that is it. 1:16:27 for our winner and inaugural Moogle Cup Tournament champion, Papachango53. Let's get our GGs in chat.
Excellent showing from Papachango there. Really showing a lot of knowledge, like a lot of clever solutions to weird little problems that came up. Took care of Magimaster right quick. Got through the final Kefka tiers pretty well, even though tier 2 was giving him a little bit of trouble. Really excellent showing from Papachango today.
It really was quite a clinic, especially when looking at that Magimaster fight. I was very impressed in that.
Although, yes, Knuckly Kong in the chat pointing out that Yeti was not in the final fight, so, I mean...
I'm gonna have words for plasmakappa. I'm not gonna lie. I got questions. We're gonna ask him. He's gonna have to answer for himself here, but it's okay. I haven't heard from the booth here if we're gonna be able to drag them in, but
looks like we could.
Looks like we have Papachango welcome in the first Moogle Cup champion. How are we feeling today?
Feeling pretty good. Thanks, guys.
Fantastic work today. Really amazing display of skill and the things that you've learned throughout this tournament. I'll just start with saying I was very impressed just straight up with your Magimaster tactics.
Yes.
Knowing that you could just throw that shield in his face to start with and using all of your defense negating 100% hit rate attacks, it just, you chewed right through them, and I was very impressed, especially even just switching into your fixed dice, using all of the tools at your disposal to make a joke out of them, quite honestly.
Yeah, thank you. That was definitely, I'm glad I decided to put off that check, because I was thinking about doing it earlier, and I wouldn't have had the stuff to take care of it.
So yeah, how many of those different strategies have you used separately? Like, have you ran into a Magimaster fight where you have had to pull out kind of like 3 different? Because that's sort of what happened. Is you pulled out 3 different emergency tactics at once. Like you cracked the shield at the beginning to get as much damage out as you could right out of the gate. You were throwing shurikens to get some of that damage out. You had GP rain. Like, how much time, I guess, have you spent on making sure that Magimaster isn't going to be a problem for you?
I seem to run into him fairly often on the seeds I run, and typically don't have the Berserk either for whatever reason. So I guess I've just been lucky or unlucky with getting him in those situations. So it's given me a lot of practice. And then, of course, Fitz has coached me through a lot of those situations. He really stresses the breaking the shield immediately, and it's worked out pretty good.
That is one of my favorite tactics as well. If you don't have Berserk, doing that upfront damage is huge. So I was very impressed, just straight up with that one. I do got one quick question for you, just about sort of your routing choices. Now, a lot of people would say, you have a Yeti. Why not go check out the Colosseum? Was there a reason why you didn't go peek that, especially with the Moogle Cup having 100% of visibility on your items?
There was. I know that for whatever reason I don't check it a lot, and I know I should, especially, and it's burned me in some of the earlier rounds. But basically, because we found that Ragnarok in the clock, we saw the Illuminas for sale. Kind of found some good defense too. We felt like we had enough to take care of the seed without having to take the time for it.
Absolutely, I could definitely agree with that. The amount of power that you found was pretty extreme. The only thing that maybe lost you a little bit of time was that there was like a ridiculous offerings for tonics thing going on in the Colosseum, and I know you were monster in a box hunting, so it would have saved you some time to peek it, maybe a little, but I don't think it mattered very much. But let me take a quick pause here. Everybody, let's get our GGs in chat for plasmakappa taking out Kefka at 120.37. GG's in chat. Well done and well played.
Yeah, did an excellent job considering they lost 2 of their characters there.
Oof.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough Kefka 4 there. One free fits. How we feeling, mentor? You led your Moogle to victory here. How we feeling today?
I mean, I mostly just kind of watched and occasionally, nudged. At this point, Papachango has improved steadily with each matchup, and I'm mostly there to kind of just nudge on the fundamentals. I mean, the Colosseum was definitely a conversation we had where it was like we could definitely go there, but we have a lot of power, so do we need to gamble? But they just over time have gotten more comfortable and tend to make the more aggressive choice when presented with them, and so they did a fantastic job overall, and especially in this final.
Yeah, I felt the routing was really strong. I felt the tactics were really strong. I saw good utilization of weaknesses. I just think it was an overall amazing run and a great showcase of the benefits of this Moogle Cup. So overall, how do you both feel about the Moogle Cup? Was it a great experience? What kind of how was it for you?
I enjoyed it quite a bit. So yeah, thanks guys for organizing this and putting it on. Definitely learned a lot. Felt like I got a lot better throughout the process. And yeah, the Moogle Cup flags are, it's nice from sometimes you get hammered in the Ultros League. As a newer runner, not quite as good at the slow starts, and it's nice the Moogle Cup to just build some confidence with being able to get those super balls and rods, which this seed in particular really showed how you can get those and how they can really speed up the early game, and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, you use those super balls to blow up a couple dragons early on. Is that your preferred use of those, or do you like to hang on to them for a rainy day?
I like to use them immediately on dragons. During the practice and leading up, once we realized that I guess I didn't read the flags close enough in the beginning, but I knew the dragons did increase enemy scaling. I didn't realize it did increase the experience you get, so it really helps to get those early in this flag. And so yeah, I like to blow up dragons immediately when I find those.
That's fantastic. I definitely agree with that tactic as well. So one last question I have for you, and then we'll see if Turdsman has anything else to follow up on. But now that you're done with the Moogle Cup, are you ready to bring the heat to Tonic in Ultros League 7?
I am. Me and Plasma were in the same Tonic C division in this most recent league, and we were really within minutes of each other on everything we do. And it looks like it was the same case here. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it again. Staying in Tonic and hopefully moving up to Potion in the next one.
Oh, that's fantastic. I apologize. I actually didn't check to see if you had already been in Tonic. So hopefully you do both get promoted to Potion. I think you both would make some waves there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes for you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, neither one of us made it this time, but hopefully we get it next time.
Absolutely. Turdsman, you got any final questions for our new champion, Papachango, and one free fits?
No, I think I covered everything. I just want to say, excellent job. You put on a fantastic show. Lots of really fun, sort of less not seen as often strategies that you used. Really great job tonight.
Yeah, thank you. And it really got to give it up to Fitz. Was an excellent mentor. Really, moved me along this path to be able to do this. And so, yeah, thanks, Fitz.
Yeah, you're welcome. I had a blast doing it. It certainly helped me think about my own game in a more critical way. And, there can only be one, I guess, final winner, but I think everyone that participated and put in effort towards learning how to race or mentoring people to learn how to race are all winners in my book. That just want to recognize all the effort from the Moogles and mentors, as well as the organizers of putting this together. I'll definitely be back mentoring.
Me
in the
too. I'm
next
looking
one.
forward to joining the fray.
Yeah, if I can piggyback off that real quick before we get Plasma in for an interview, my favorite piece of this is we've had a lot of fresh talent coming in the past few months, and it's been really exciting to see how quickly they've been getting out of the low tier and into the mid, and some of them even high tier. Like there's been a lot of really strong players showing up and showing off these past few months, and it's been really exciting to see the pool of strong contenders growing so rapidly, and you and Plasma definitely among them.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, well, congratulations again. Look forward to seeing how things go. Either maybe in this follow-up event that's coming up in between Ultros Leagues. I hope we haven't had it announced yet, or just in Ultros League 7. So congratulations again. Raise that championship belt high, and yeah, we'll catch you next time.
All right, yeah, thanks, guys.
Enjoy the Moogle medal.
All right, gonna see if we can't get Plasmakappa and Golden Shocker in here.
All right, there we go. GG's. We're here with Plasmakappa and Golden Shocker, the number 2 in the first Moogle Cup tournament. How are you guys feeling about the show tonight?
Pretty good until like 5 minutes before I finished. Then it was less good.
Yeah, unfortunately, everything was going really good, and unfortunately, that Magimaster just had to step in there and pump the brakes. What were you thinking when you ran into him with the tactics that you chose to put on display there?
I was like, yeah, cool, I can do this. Wait, I have a faster way, but I'm halfway through this way. Oh,
yeah,
well.
Definitely. Yeah, I was watching. It's something that not many people even know about. So
I didn't.
It's definitely those reflect strats. Funny enough, I learned that from Golden Shocker myself. So Golden Shocker, thank you so much for being my mentor as well. But it's a really cool strat to be able to utilize in a pinch like that.
Yeah, I was telling him, this came up in the semifinals too. You did the same thing, and like just having that in your bag of tricks, as far as like not having to rely on Berserk, having the ability to just pull out Reflect, it's a game changer in certain situations. Now, could you have gone offering fixed dice? Shurikens might have been a little bit faster. We were talking about it. Could we have switched it up maybe, but at that point, we were already halfway done, so it was what it was at that point.
Yeah, kind of a moot point. Once you've already committed to it, you might as well stick it out. So what were some of your thoughts early in this seed? I know you probably found pretty early a good amount of rods, a good amount of super balls. I know fairly early you went to Kolingen, found yourself that Esper along with more super balls and Illuminas. What was sort of your game plan once you saw the amount of offense that this seed was throwing your way?
Yeah, well, I joined started playing during the Ultras League environment where rods are more expensive and balls basically don't exist. So they're still a bit off my mindset with this flag set. I tried to utilize what I could.
Yeah, so when you do find those, even in an Ultros League setting, is there a particular situation that you want to find to use those in? Like if you find rods, are you really looking for a big random encounter group to crack them on, or anything like that.
Yeah. Generally what I saw, even once I was on the beginning guide, I saw, hey, if I just sold my Mega Elixir and bought a bunch of Sunder Rods, that might have made that faster.
Yeah, me being a pretty aggressive seller myself, I do tend to liquidate my assets pretty early and just get as much as possible. But no, I think the tactics that you showed here were good as well. You had enough Super Balls to be able to take out the dragon up in Narsh. You also used some up on Spicy Chicken up there, so good utilization of those. But I do have a burning question. Not only me, but I believe some of chat. They want me to ask this question. You got rid of the VK Yeti. Care to explain yourself?
I'm bad.
Well, that's not what we were looking for exactly, but you're very
Yes.
brave to admit it.
Yes.
I
Um,
mean, we were
as soon as
all
he did
very excited.
Yeah, the second he did it, I was like, Glue's gonna lose his mind, but kind of had to be done.
yeah.
We were very excited to see it. We saw VKs, we saw offerings, and we saw Yeti. We were ready to see him rise to the top, but unfortunately, he got shelved, and we were all very disappointed.
So
Yeah.
to be fully fair, you know, we like having fun. I personally am a big fan of the Yeti. I think his little butt crack is very funny. But how do you feel about the Berserker in this game? Do you want to get rid of him as fast as you possibly can, or do you have specific situations where you think you can slot in?
Well, there are obviously specific situations, like the Colosseum, where he's really good. So, you know, if I want to get him early, or maybe once you find him mid-game, you can slot him in just to do Colosseum. But, you know, the endgame is so much counter Fantasy 6, I'm probably not good enough to handle that yet.
That's a
I
concern.
guess I can understand that, but Counter Fantasy 6 is fantastic, and I can't wait to use that again.
Yeah, I mean, half his Kefka fight was really dealing with once Umro came in, the final Kefka. He was dealing with doing 400 damage and basically couldn't control the counters that were coming in. Made it a little dicey at tier 4.
Yeah, that's one of my concerns, and that's why I tend to just hopefully leave him dead somewhere, so that he doesn't bother me in tier 4 if I'm not going to bring him to final Kefka, because I've been ultimated multiple times by Yeti-based counters. Not great. So I definitely understand the long-term reasonings behind it. Now, something that I had asked your competitor, you know, this is the first running of the Moogle Cup. So, you know, we got to see some amazing skills put on display here, some really cool tactics that, you know, many probably wouldn't even think existed until months and months down from when they start. How do you both feel about the Moogle Cup? How was it? Did you both enjoy yourselves? You had some highs and lows, you know? What do you guys think?
It's pretty alright. I'm ahead of doing randomizers. Is usually grinding 700 seeds until I'm good, so perhaps facilitating that with some socialization is much better.
Yeah, you know, knock those 700 seeds down to maybe 100, 150. That's good, you know, get you right on the fast track. And Golden Shocker, how about you? How did you enjoy it? Did you get any good benefits from it? You know, what do you think?
I mean, just I get in that situation a lot where, you know, I'm talking play, you know, different things to consider. Both of the folks that I was mentoring did really well in this, and they, you know, I like to think that I helped them you know, as much as I could.
Yeah.
So, you know, across the board, like I thought it was really just a good thing for, you know, for everybody. Anybody that has, you know, questions about how to play, like being engaged as a mentor, I think is kind of, you know, kind of gives me the chance to share my excitement. Like I really enjoy the game, so like being able to help other people enjoy the game is good for me. So definitely valuable from that point of view.
That's
Yeah, it
awesome.
has been great to watch. There's been a lot of new talent coming in. I mentioned this already when we were talking with Papachango, but like 120 is not a bad time. Like I'm still struggling to get under 130. So there's been lots of new talent coming in. Everybody's been playing fantastically. It's been a lot of fun to see all of these new players with their all of their different interests. It's been really cool. So yeah, I think Physics, is there anything else that you wanted to ask, or even plasmakappa, anything that you wanted to say at the end here?
No,
Yeah.
nothing else for me. I just wanted to say, thank you both for not only agreeing to be in the Moogle Cup, but agreeing to be restreamed tonight. It was an amazing time, and I really enjoyed myself. So, the time that you both have taken, I greatly appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah, the only main difficulty is, of course, if you're coming into community now, it's during Ultra League season, so, I do have to change my mindset for these flags.
Yeah, that is true, because if you were in Ultras League and then having to do Moogle Cup, you do have to kind of bounce around. If you're getting used to Moogle Cup seeds, then you have to readjust to Ultras League and the more difficult scaling and the less items and things like that. So that definitely makes sense. Do you think you're going to continue doing Moogle Cup seeds, or do you think you're going to start grinding out those Ultras League seeds in preparation for UL7?
I mean, I already grind most of the Ultra League seeds. I just went and grabbed all the race rooms.
I love to
Yeah.
hear it. So you're bringing the heat next year, or next season.
Yeah, or at least being slightly less last.
I think you'll do just fine, and I'm looking forward to seeing your progress coming up on Ultras League 7 and perhaps any other events that happen to come along before then.
Yep.
Well, Turdsman, any last words for us before we head on out of here?
No, not really. We can get started with the big thanks. Obviously, big thanks to Drinks Glue for running all the bits and bobs behind the scenes. Big thanks to Gretham for running the tracker, letting us know who was getting what and when. And of course, thanks to you, Physics Shebang, for hanging out in the booth with me tonight.
And to you as well, Turdsman. I had a wonderful time. Haven't had a chance to commentate with you, so looking forward to doing it again sometime.
Absolutely. So yeah, if anybody out there wants to join in, we have a Discord. You can join that. A ton of info there. Lots of us little freaks floating around. Can't wait to talk about Final Fantasy stuff. Really love to see you there.
FF6WorldsCollide.com will have all those links that you need to come join us. So we hope to see you in there. With that, I believe Drinks Glue has some ideas on where we're going to be raiding out today. Where are we going today, Glue?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna raid on over in the Lanxian. Lanxian, by the way, is doing the Chaos Tournament of the Month, so if you don't want to have that spoiled for you, you might wanna duck out now. So just a little heads up. For us on Worlds Collide, Ultras League is wrapped up. Moogle Cup is wrapped up, but we'll kick off again as soon as we get enough sign-up. So I've thrown in the chat a couple times the link to the various resources and docs. You can find those pinned in the beginner's house that I had just sent the message to. If you're interested in playing or volunteering for the Moogle Cup, all the relevant links you need are there. So again, we're raiding on over to Lanxian, who is doing the Chaos Tournament of the Month async.
plasmakappa, Golden Shocker, congratulations on an amazing run and a second place finish. I look forward to seeing your future endeavors, plasmakappa. But I hope you both have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you next time.
Yep, thank you.
Yep, thank you. You too.
Have a good night, y'all.
Take care.